Welcome to turning a moment into a movement. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're back. Hi, Trishay.
Hey,
Hi, Revatia. How are you? Welcome back. We've been on a nice long break. I don't know if Revatia has her mic. Her mic's not open, but welcome back. Trishay, how are you?
I'm blessed.
I know that's right. You guys, we welcome you back to turning a moment into a movement. I'm here with Trishay. Trishay, introduce yourself.
My name is Trishay Duckworth. You can call me T Duck Wheezy. No, I'm just playing, but I'm from Survival Speak. I'm the lead consultant at Value Black Lives, and I'm just really in great expectation of this conversation on tonight. So thanks, Jay, for bringing us back strong.
Yes, and Revertia should be popping back on. Uh, but thanks, you guys. Attorney Matt is going to be popping in a little bit later, and so is Nate, our panel for the day. Revertia, hey.
Hello there. How are you? How is everyone?
We're good. Introduce yourself.
Oh my goodness. I am Reverend Tia Taylor. I am an ordained minister serving the community. But more than that, I am the founder of the Choice Zone, where your choice matters, and helping people and companies get into their groove, into who they are and what they represent and what they want to bring to the community. And I'll be talking about soon our nonprofit, people who want to run a nonprofit, who want to start the paperwork for a nonprofit and want to get started. Don't know how to start. You interested in doing that? Then you need to get in touch with me. So
Right.
I love everything I do. And look, the two of you, along with Allie, are have joined me at Michigan Coalition for Human Rights, which is really good. I'm so happy. Yay, 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 yay. um, Bringing some power to the board and allowing us to really make some different things happen in our communities. And we are 44 years strong.
Yes. So, you guys, I just want to, before we get started, just tell everybody how important self care is. We took a break, we needed it. You can't, give from an empty cup. So, it's important that you take some time to take care of yourself. And so, I'm glad we took the time. I feel rejuvenated. And, today is Wrongful Conviction Day. I don't want to say happy Wrongful Conviction Day. I see some people be saying happy Wrongful Conviction Day like it's happy Easter or something, but it's really it shouldn't be a Wrongful Conviction Day. And so, these things shouldn't happen. And so we have some great guests that's going to come on and give us some good information tonight. I want to give us our mission statements. Our mission is to bring awareness to all that are impacted from being wrongly convicted, over sentenced, medically ill, medically frail in our communities. To inspire, organize, and educate all communities about the needs to disrupt systems, policies, and patterns of the criminal legal system that lead to wrongful convictions. That's our motto. That's the reason why we're here. And so our mission, and we're about to be about it. So thank you guys for joining us again. All those that's watching on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, please take time to subscribe. We have a lot of great content that's going to be coming up all this month and next month. So make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified as soon as we go live. So I want to bring on our guests so we can get started with tonight's conversation about the pursuit of truth. That's the theme for Wrongful Conviction Day today and for this whole month, we're going to run with it. So first, I want to bring on who is not a stranger to our to us, to our audience, or to our panel. Hi, Larry. Hey, Larry. How are you? Okay, turn your mic up. We can't hear you. Well, that was Larry Darnell Smith. Wait for him to turn his mic up because we can't hear him. We can't hear you, Larry. So we're gonna let Larry work on his mic, and then we're gonna bring in our next guest, powerful guest. Hello, Reginald Crawford.
Yes. Good evening, J Love, and I want to say I love your intro.
Oh, thank you.
It was beautiful and informational. And good evening to everyone else.
Yes, I see Mr. Beat the Odds is in the picture with Larry Smith. So, hey. So yeah, once you guys get your mic together, we can, let's see. I'm gonna take this one out while you guys removing it. And I'm gonna bring this one in. Larry, your mic is muted.
Can you hear us now?
Oh yeah, I hear you. Hi,
All right,
welcome.
okay now, guys. We signing off from this other phone. It's an iPhone 16. We thought we was doing something spectacular with technology, but we finding that old trusty working now.
Yeah.
So can you guys hear us now? I got my brother with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi.
All
All
right.
right.
Yeah. Good
Hey,
evening,
what's that
brother.
name you called him, Mr. Beat the Odds?
Mr. Beat the Odds.
Hey, we got it in the car twice right now though.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Two
Hey,
Mr.
look,
Beat the
and
Odds.
let me show you something though, right? Before he beat the odds, you see my button? That's
Yes.
Yeah.
him. Before he beat the odds, I said he was gonna be free. They go Chris Dunn. Them two
Yes.
guys are free. I'm sitting in the car with one. I'm so grateful to the creator from above and every person who participated in the efforts to make that a reality. Chris Dunn in there, my great friend Tamara Washington, who should be the center of an investigation, especially concerning. Just think about it. Her file is missing. It was after the alleged destruction that these people have been talking about. So I'm thinking that she's somebody who's been directly affected on Kim Worthy's watch. So free Tamara Washington, Wayne Duck, and William Wiley on this button, but that was pre the release of this great man that I'm in the car with. So for the world to come out for one day and celebrate great people like him, right? And say that it's
Yes.
something and that it's taking place in this country. I'm ingratiated by every which one of you are on here. Any person who tuned in to the great Pam, attorney, I didn't say Miss Pam. I just seen you on here, and to
Yeah,
every person in
he
the country,
is.
yes, I salute. So I just want to say thank you guys for having me, and my brother. He doing
Yes.
homework. He a law student, y'all. He doing homework.
All
He's
right.
doing homework while we on here.
Yes. I just want to tell him that we were talking about him before he even came home with Diane. We did like 2 shows on you before you even got home with your mom on. So we are so happy to see you. I was ecstatic when you came home. I was watching all the videos with Larry. So I'm just happy to see you on the screen. We're gonna have to get you on here by yourself too.
Oh yeah.
But
Truly,
welcome.
truly appreciate y'all, J Love. It's hey, listen,
Yes,
we need to get the J Love show mainstream because only the mainstream only want to get on it before when we get out and we walking on the doors. You know what I mean?
That's right.
yes,
Hey, Miss J Love, and I want you to consider something, right? Across the country,
yes,
I got a Zonnery brothers. So they'll be like, they from Michigan, Massachusetts, or they from Minnesota, or they from just I'm just naming states with M's right now, right?
right.
Missouri, well, all of us we was subjected to a system, right? So if we whatever state that we from, we still have been subjected by a system. So if you remove the state, we still been released because we exonerees, meaning that we suffered in prison for crimes that we didn't commit. So like on no level do we ever want to let people ever separate us. And the truth is, right? There's so much power in your show, like so much strength in what you do, bro. Right, you should be mainstream because of the support that you get of people like the little people, like the Larry Darnell Smith Juniors, like the Mr. Beat the Odds, and the rest of us, as on the reason if we give you credit or not for the actions that you take. Matter of fact, I was out in the street the other day, not just too long ago, with Miss Duckworth Trish, and like seriously, I don't come out to celebrate a wrongful conviction day. I be taking that shit disrespectful, excuse my language. A month. I take that disrespectful because a person inside the institutions they fighting purely every day.
Yes.
Like real talk. But people
Real,
come together
yeah.
and say that this is the month and this is the time that we can set aside. Well, that's the issue because when your loved one calling you or they sending letters to you, right? You don't sit that shit aside to October. We need y'all to
Right.
get up and get out and get active right then because that might be that information that could crack that situation open. Or you might be that lane that take that person out of that lane of suicide because they down bad and they're in for something they ain't do. I don't know. Might be medically frail, might be over sentenced,
Conviction
but
day. Every
yeah,
day is wrongful conviction day, far as I'm concerned. As long as an
thank you.
innocent person is in prison, every single day.
Free Dennis VC. Free him and his brothers. Free the VC brothers.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Agreed. I agree with you guys. Yes, ma'am. Every day. I just wanted, people to know that money don't create uh mental health, mental health after being suffering from that system, right? The lack of
Mm-hmm.
money don't neither. You hear me? The lack of money make it even worse, right? So in all, for people who wrongfully convicted and they reaching out to the loved ones in the street, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if your family member get free after they scratch, and then you start coming around, and then you start looking for something from the person who's been incarcerated for all that time, you should beat it to the punch and you should help them in advance.
Yeah.
See, for every person out there who get hear this at any point in your life, you can help that person that's incarcerated in advance, right? So that way, when they get out, you can be standing there in the winner's circle with them. You don't, because people stand in the winner's circle with you, but they really know like they didn't take a part in it. I can genuinely say from the heart, like I took a part in the process of helping my brother. Am I lying,
Mm-hmm.
bro?
True indeed.
So I can sit in the car and feel good about myself. I mean, I'm just being honest. So I want each individual to have the opportunity to feel good about themselves after that wrongfully convicted person that they know get free, and then they be telling them like, I did X, Y, and Z. Well, put that real effort towards it and get to it.
Right.
That's all.
I know that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry. I want to end our next guest, Reggie Crawford. Introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening to everyone. And I'm not slighting the sisters, but particularly to the brothers who were wrongfully convicted that are free today. Okay. And I'm so proud of you, brothers, because I've been working with a few other brothers. You may have saw some of the stuff in the media, how we've been basically attacking this issue. Um, is that the issue of those who have been incarcerated, and like I said, I'm proud of you two and others who are helping others get free, escaping that system. Like I told early in the day, I mentioned to Sister J Love, this is the 2024 Underground Railroad. This is the new Underground Railroad. I mean, Second Baptist Church over there on Monroe Street, downtown Detroit. That's you go through there to get to, that was the Underground Railroad. Today, for those who are wrongfully incarcerated, we got to get them through the Underground Railroad. And coming through that way of some prosecutor's office, some police department, and police chiefs who are responsible. And that's why I'm here too. I mean, I was asked, by some brothers to help out, and it's kind of, some people look at this kind of different. I even had some of my people who saw some stuff in the media because I've been a police officer for, well, that's the terminology people here in America, but I call myself a peace officer, not a police officer, because those who understand what sense of community is, and that's what I grew up in Detroit on the east side, and we had sense of community back in the 50s and the 60s and up into a little bit of the 70s. So understanding that and being from the community, still in the community, and connected to the community, I understand, and then working in the criminal injustice system. I always called it that. They always say, like Recorder's Court was, they called it the Recorder's Court, criminal court, but I call it Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. And to me, in seeing some things, and I knew this in the years of working for Detroit PD, I called it the Recorder's Court, not criminal court, but or justice. It was injustice because a lot of injustice occurred. And I don't recall what the number is, 30-some thousand incarcerated in the state of Michigan, and I call them prison plantations, so that's what they are all across America, brothers. They're just prison plantations. I mean, we can go back to 1865, the 13th Amendment. That's what this was about. That's slavery was abolished except for those who were charged with some criminal, something criminally convicted of a crime. So today we have thousands of brothers, in the system, fighting, and a great number of them fighting for freedom. And what I used to tell people when speaking, even as a peace officer, and I spoke a lot of places, Detroit and throughout the country, but 85% of those incarcerated today will be free one day. 85%. Everybody, it's only about 15% that may stay in there for life, but everybody's getting out. They coming back where? To our community. So we got to welcome the brothers and sisters back. So that's what this is about. But in going after this is a fight, and this is a fight that is has to occur or has to go on in perpetual motion. In other words, continuously. We got to keep coming and coming and coming at this system to free everybody that was wrongfully convicted. So that's where I come from on the issue. Like I said, some of the communities say, well, I even got a few phone calls from some relatives. Well, we saw you in the media and we see you standing with these brothers, fighting, talking about they were wrongfully convicted. And I said, well, they were exonerated. I said, but the issue, and they said, well, it seemed like you, because they know me. They said, well, I had to laugh. And they said, you working on the other side now. You didn't cross the line. I said, I ain't never crossed no line. I'm not on the other side. There's one side that I'm for, and that's truth and justice. That's what I'm about.
I know that's right.
So I'm gonna expose that any kind of way I can.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna expose it any kind of way. And I want to say that I've been inside every prison in the state of Michigan, with the exception of Oak River Road, because my last 7 years I worked aviation and we did the transport. We flew into those prisons and moved inmates back on writs and etc. So inside that system, and some of those, I mean, walking in there, and I'm walking in there in a uniform, flight suit, badge on, everything, and the vibe that I got, and even talking to the brothers too, because I had a lot of time. We had a lot of time, a lot of time to talk, hours, in that transportation and even flying and stuff. And just the vibe that I got, even, how the treatment coming from the corrections officer, who I call him incorrect, was something else. I mean, the truth that I was told, and even the experiences, why I had encountered some things that was, I'm gonna tell you this, brothers. Every time when I walked into those prisons, after a few different incidents involving clashing with the corrections officers, I looked at every button they pushed, every door that they closed, at all the surveillance systems, because I was always wondering, I might have to break out of there. It was just like that. I mean, that was the attitude. And sometimes, I had to. I mean, some of the people I was moving with, some of the other officers say, hey, just kind of let it go. I said, well, no, I'm a man. I said they're not going to treat me this way, and they're not going to treat these brothers this way in my presence either. So, I mean, I had things that, like I said, it made me want to cry. I mean, I talk about this sometimes in terms of how, and you brothers, I know y'all can identify with this, how some brothers they stop fighting, they become psychologically conditioned and institutionalized, that there was an occasion when I walked in to, to take a brother out, bring him back to the city, that the brother, before I said anything to him, he was making movements as if I was telling him what to do, and I hadn't even told him what to do. In terms of putting handcuffs on and leg irons and stuff. That brother would just turn around. I said, brother, I didn't tell you to do anything, man. Just relax. I said, I know we got to do what we got to do for the transport, but it was like a condition. He had been conditioned, and I thought about that, and I my conversation with some of them, yeah, I understand, you down, but always keep your mind free. Always keep your mind free. I said, I know you're locked up, you're locked down, you're locked out, you're locked away from the community and the family and all that stuff, but you got to keep your mind free.
Yeah.
You got to keep it. And some of that stuff, I mean, it's still with me today. And like I said, in the presence of some of the brothers, I had to keep from bringing tears, man, because of that, and even when I worked at the county jail, I got to, because of the particular job I did in terms of the uniforms and the linen, every week I got to see all the inmates up in there, 700 of them. I got to talk to them and visit them, going on all the wards to change people out and stuff like that, give them their linen. And I knew in talking to some of them, they shouldn't, they shouldn't be there. Everybody there shouldn't be there. And when I walked out the jail at the end of the shift, this is no lie. I worked 16 hours or 8 hours that day. First thing I did was, and people looked at me because I will step out them doors of that jail, and I look up to the sky and yell to the heavens, free the jail, free the jail, free the jail. Even other deputies looked at me. They thought it was kind of funny, but I was serious. So I understand. I mean, I and working with Mark Craig here and Lamar, and that's why I have to go back. I'm proud of you two and everybody else that's working to try to get others out, because, and as I stated, even in the media, I said that money, people get 10 million, 8 million, 2 million, whatever. I said, you cannot buy back the freedom that was stolen from you. You can't buy them years back. I don't care if it's 40 million and the mule, like 40 acres. If it's 40 million and 40 acres and the mule, you cannot buy back them years that were stolen from you. You were kidnapped from the streets of Detroit. You were kidnapped from your family. You were kidnapped and stolen, from this community for all those years. But my thing is, and my focus on the fight is at the very beginning, the police and some of the prosecutors. And that's what I'm saying. See, what occurred in your case and many of those cases is police officers, they didn't testify, they testified. Witnesses testified, they didn't testify, they testified. That's perjury. That's felony. Last I checked, that's a crime. So any of the police officers, investigators, any of that stuff, it was criminality. Those are crimes. The false narratives, the false confessions. And as I've been saying is, you can never get justice without accountability. Those folks have to be held accountable. Those folks need to be prosecuted. So that's the focus. But in the movement, as Jay Love said, it's not a moment, it's a movement. The first thing is to educate the community, using whatever media you have to educate, the people, and then, and call those folks out that was responsible, the Mike Duggins and all the rest of them. I mean, like some of the recent articles that have been going, in the Metro Times. And also, and I'm going to tell you right now, this stuff is getting ready to go national. Yeah, watch what I'm telling you. This stuff is getting ready. This stuff is getting ready to go national. Other cities, New Jersey, Chicago, New York, they've charged people in law enforcement. They charge they've charged police officers, they charge investigators, individuals who've done, were wrongfully convicted, spent years in prison. Their systems have went back and charged those police officers. Some are still working, they fired them, and they were brought criminal charges against them. That's the same thing that needs to occur right here.
Yeah.
And
Larry,
until that's done, there's no accountability.
right.
You
I
know.
noticed Larry has been speaking on, the
Yeah.
silent epidemic, the wrongful convictions. And I mean, there's no lie being told. Um, we've been talking about this for myself,
Yeah.
just based off of what happened to us, me, my family, 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And so we're talking about in Larry case 27 years and other cases even more years. And no accountability. No
Yeah.
account. We're just going on like it's okay. And so I agree, Mr. Crawford, that there's going to probably be a national break in this, because even with the story that came out today, then we could touch on it a little bit. They're talking about Dana Nassau is not going to prosecute,
That's right.
and I feel like that's insane. You got on record that these people have committed perjury and all kinds of lies and crimes, and people are coming home from it, but nobody is being charged with this. I mean, but it's also, we as a community have to take responsibility as well. If we're not standing up, if we're not speaking out, if we don't care unless it happened to us personally, these things keep on happening. It happened to Larry 27 years ago. It happened to Mr. Beat the Odds, how many years ago?
Shit, Darrell did 14 years.
Yeah. See, that's
14 years ago. My son, 5 years ago. The VZ brothers,
Currently,
how long
the
Trish
BC
said?
brothers, the BC brothers is running. They currently running. Like it's going down still on their lives.
Yeah,
They
they
still experiencing it
at
currently
20
in the moment.
years inside. Dennis went in 2003, and then the conviction happened though in 2005.
And we have yet to see anybody in Michigan, not one person being charged or any accountability,
Right.
no
Well,
transparency, files
well,
missing,
I
just
think.
files are missing,
Well, first, hey, excuse me, J Love, right?
Go ahead.
Um, the missing files. Let's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's a number of things. Now, I remember now, bro. I remember you was down there. I came down there with Lamar and Craig Head to
Yes, sir.
do for the protest. I came down there in support.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. You
um,
are. Yes,
but
sir.
see, like, it ain't just like a Barbara Simon. It's just not like a Monica
Right.
Childs. It was a educational process that they was having at that time. They was training those officers through a policy and a procedure to wrongfully arrest people.
That's
Like it
right.
was all part of the educational process.
Yes,
It
sir.
was what they taught us. It was what it
Yeah.
was what they. I mean, just realistically, it was what that education was for those officers. It was the climate. So
Yeah.
you always ask them, um, what happened? What was the training? And then you always hear that was part of the process. They learned it from somebody a higher up.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is if this is how they was educated, right, in that process, then that means that whole process is tainted.
Yes. It's
And then,
corrupt.
right, when you start, like, I don't want to jump, but I want to show y'all a picture. We in Michigan, okay. So being in Michigan, our appeals was finalized,
Mm-hmm.
but they was finalized in a different way. You understand?
Yeah.
So in Michigan, when your appeal is finalized, that means that you serve out your natural life sentence or whatever it is that you sentenced to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now take Marcellus Williams. He was sentenced to a sentence, right, where the end result was death, and then finalized and allowed them to kill him.
Yeah.
If Michigan on the books had death, then I'd be dead, bro would be dead, right?
Yeah.
And the other people who have been released would be dead.
That's
So
right.
what is the commonality, right, between Michigan and these other states? We'll use Missouri, right, which allows them to finalize our appeals and then lead to them being able to kill somebody, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we take the history back and you go to like Timothy McVeigh, and you go like to the Anti-Effective Death Penalty Act, the AEDPA, when Timothy McVeigh was asking to die based on the decision that he made, right, to harm people, our country then came back with a rule that applied to all these different people from a criteria. So, like, if you killed the police, you be entitled to death, right?
Right.
Because it's all finalizing the appeal, right? Which
Right.
allows them to let you die in there of natural life, or which allows you to die in there of lethal injection, or it depends on the state. But nevertheless, I think that as a whole in the country, we need to attack that, because if we attack that, it'll take the measure away for them to be able to say your appeal is final. You don't got no merit, more or less.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I hope I hope it made sense, because the show
Yeah.
made sense to me.
Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense, brother. It makes sense. But like I said, the fight is, I mean, not only, I mean, for freedom, but it's got to be for accountability. You got to go back and get these people. You got to go back and, it needs to be investigation. These individuals need to be charged. I know Monica Childs personally. I've known her for years, Monica Childs. I don't know Barbara Simon. I knew Rice, Lieutenant Rice or Inspector Rice, I guess he became. But a little history on Monica Childs. Monica Childs was working homicide when Malice Green was murdered by Nevers and Butson. That was her case. And, she could tell the story. And I mean, as she told us, me and a few other black cops, is, hey, when she went to that morgue and looked at Malice Green, the way he was beaten, she said, I'm going to get him. She said, don't worry, Malice, I'm going to get him. She's talking about Nevers and Butson. And they did everything they could do to hinder Monica Childs in that investigation. And Monica Childs, there was something that went on down there in homicide, and it goes back to Malice Green. Oh, and by the way, Mike Duggan, if you recall, and this is reported in the media too, the medical examiner, Jiraki, I believe his name was, Mike Duggan interfered with that because he wanted the ruling for Malice Green's death to be that he died from, I want the medical examiner to rule that he died from the drugs and not the beating, the blows to the head with those metal flashlights. And Mike Jiraki ended up suing the county and all that. And a lot of that came out, but Mike Duggan was the deputy county exec at the time under McNamara, who was the county exec. So, all this is truth, and it's been reported, and it's the history of that. But Monica Childs had some issues because a lot of things that was going on behind scenes in homicide, she was opposed to it, and she was fighting that. So it was me, because we had a black cop group that I co-founded called DAP, Detroit African American Police, along with then Sergeant Roosevelt Lawrence. He was the president, I was the vice president, and we called a protest march against Chief McKinnon at the time. And we marched on a very cold day in front of the police headquarters. First time in history you had some police officers marching on a police chief. We were off duty, of course, but it was some black officers, Attorney Jeff Edison, Malik Shabazz, Kwame Kenyatta, and a few others. And we were calling out Chief McKinnon and telling him hands off Monica Childs, because we knew that Monica was standing up fighting for what was right, down there, and going against the system and going against the grain and going against what was going on that was unjust, that was occurring down there in that homicide unit. So we called out the police chief. We protested Chief McKinnon and sent a message to for them hands off Monica Childs. So I mean, and there may be other things. I don't know about the other cases of things that Monica Childs was involved in, but I do know some of the things that occurred that as to why we stood up for Monica Childs. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there and put that on record.
Hey, but they messed Monica Childs up, man, because Monica Childs put me in prison for 26 years, 10 months, and 7 days. And I ain't do nothing to Monica Childs. And if you watch the interviews and you read the testimony, right, that she gave, it was like I don't know, man. I just fell in somebody's destiny or something like that, and it was
Yeah.
meant to happen to me. So I just feel like since it was meant to happen to me, it was meant to me to expose that is innocent people in there, and then do it by name. So like when it come to Mike Dugan, right? The name come up in so many bad situations.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm serious, right?
Yes, sir.
Because I'm telling you, I personally heard Ken Worthy out her mouth say that Mike Dugan was responsible for destroying files.
He was. He was. He
Now,
did. He
Same thing
did.
she just told reporters. Huh?
right, right. I'm just saying
He
like
did.
that. He
He did.
personally, like he did it. He did it. He destroyed files. He did it. Right
That's right.
now, the thing is this though. She said that she put out a memo ordering the stopping of the destruction of the files. Right. Well, about a year, 2 years later, Tamara Washington came along, and now her file is missing. So that didn't happen on Mike Dugan
Under
watch.
Mike, it didn't happen on Douglas
That
watch.
happened under um Kim Worthy's. I know. I just wanted to put the shock appeal to it, right? Because I got a song out, and the song, actually in testimony, it say fire Kim Worthy, right? But we know that the people ain't gonna do that, and then ain't nobody coming through to run against Kim Worthy, right? So that means that she run unopposed, just like Eli Savage. When Eli came out, he tricked the people. He said he was with it, right? Whatever case might be. I personally know him. I personally talked to him. And I'm like, man, what's up with them VC brothers? Because if the DNA don't say the VC brothers did it, then man,
Right.
why the VC brothers sitting in prison? So when you talking somebody like Dana Nessel, it's all a game. All
Mm-hmm.
behind there, man, they work all kind of weird magic, man, for the people, for the white folks. And like, no disrespect, because I'm free. And I ain't never been to, like I said, I ain't never been to court, man.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't had no
Well,
evidentiary hearing. I went to prison in 1994. I walked out of prison, bro. I ain't had no hearings or nothing. So I know that they know that people be messed up in the worst way. So if the VC brothers is messed up in the worst way, then Eli Savage, man, free him. And then if you feel like you don't have the authority or you don't have the kahunas, as the great lady said the day yesterday,
mm-hmm.
then man, then you should step down. But then that really ain't appropriate, because you should do what big balls do, and you should free the VC brothers, or let the people know, man, what the issue is. You feel me? The same way that Ken Worthy should let the people know what's up with Tamara Washington in that file. What did
And
you investigate? You said out your own mouth, Ken Worthy. I'm holding you to it. That was unacceptable. That wasn't cool. Matter of fact, it started a rift between me and the exonerees, because there was a lot of people present when you said it, Ken Worthy, right? So
well,
why would we leave somebody in prison, serving 32 to 50 years? That's a long ass time. I did 27 years. That hurt. That hurt family, man. That hurt my mama. So that
mm-hmm.
hurt me. I just be busting out crying and stuff. So when you start talking about wrongful conviction day, wrongful conviction month, man, yeah, I be mad as hell, because the epidemic going on every
Yeah,
damn day
yeah,
from every damn state and every damn country.
yeah.
But right here where we from, we say we got each other back. We holding each other down. We woo, 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 woo. But we whooped out.
Well, Brother Smith, I want to say this, man. You're absolutely right about a wrongful conviction day or month, because the brothers are doing years. Okay, so this is something that's every day. I mean, they're serving. They there every day, and they're doing years, and they've been there for years. So but the history on Mike Duggan, everywhere Mike Duggan's been, there's been a federal investigation, and there's probably one or two going on now. Not only with these destroyed files, but even deleted emails with the city. I mean, we go back to the McNamara administration. Mike Duggan was the deputy county exec, under McNamara. McNamara was a heart attack away from getting being indicted. He had a heart attack. The feds raided his office. They were going to indict McNamara, and McNamara had a heart attack and died. And they would have got Duggan too, who was the deputy county exec. Then Duggan left there, went over to the prosecutor's office. Then went to the prosecutor's office. We marched on the prosecutor. We organized a march and marched on the prosecutor's office. I marched with Malik Shabazz and some other activists. Me and a couple black police officers. We marched on Mike Duggan. Why did we march on Mike Duggan when he was a prosecutor? Because of the very things you're talking about. We marched on him then a couple times, and of course things are different now. Malik is, I don't know, he's a little different because he's down with the mayor, but I don't, I'm not like that, brother. I don't cut it anyway. You talked about who was involved in your case. Personally, to me, I don't deal with personalities or anything like that. I deal with truth and justice. So if you say somebody did something wrong in your case, then and it was Monica Childs, then that's it. You see, I don't cut that. I got Kim
She
Worthy.
said it, big bro.
Bruh, I've been knowing Kim Worthy for years, but I didn't have a problem with calling that march down there at the court. And you was down there. We tell Kim Worthy to
Right.
come on out to the sidewalk and have a conversation. But you know what? What it's about is that accountability. But in order to get that accountability, you need to take action. As we're doing now, it just needs to needs to broaden, and that is in terms of activism and its impact. Now, as a result of that protest and the other one in front of VPD, there's some movement. Mark Craighead is supposed to have Kim. He sent her an email after all this, and you saw some of how she responded in the media. Of course, she says she's gonna hire somebody else for the conviction, wrongful conviction and terrority or innocence and terrority and terrority unit. And my thing, there is no
How you gonna
interior,
have
and
I,
until you actually come to the table and talk to everybody. Yeah.
so, so
Yeah.
I just want to say, I don't mean to cut you off, Mr. Crawford, but how do we expect integrity from a department that has shown us constantly no integrity?
That's right.
You want to prove something to me, then we need an independent
you're absolutely right. Independent
group of people to come in and start looking at these cases. Then maybe we can get some accountability. I want to add Nate Frazier to the welcome to joining us. And you have anything to add, Nate? Your mic. Hold on, Nate. You're muted.
Oh,
okay. There you go.
All right. Yes, sorry I'm late, but I came in listening to everything Mr. Crawford was saying and what Larry was saying, and it's just so true. But what I'm seeing in these last 5 years, dealing with wrongful conviction, which is what Trichet introduced me to in regard to that, because we really never heard of wrongful conviction. We just hear of people getting arrested, going to prison, not knowing if they were, just assuming what you read on paper, they're guilty. And so, really understanding now, it's like everything is so political. It just seemed like a lot of these prosecutors, lawyers, and judges, they all in the bed with each other and they all working together. And one thing what the VC brothers cousin said yesterday was the VC brothers are political prisoners. And I think it's a shame. And Ellie Savitt, I very work with him very, very close with his campaign. I even took death threats. I even got called all type of house niggas and man, that's a prosecutor. What you tripping? He's a prosecutor. But the platform that he ran on, I believed in the brother, and we went to our community. Me, Trichet, and a lot of us, we went to our community, and we really fought hard for this brother to get in office because we already had a prosecutor, Brian Mackey, 25 years, that incarcerated so many black men. So Eli comes in, and I was just talking to Trichet earlier, it's like, I don't know if I looked at him as a white savior or what. I don't know. But I see you, Trichet. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not personal. I'm very, very disappointed in this man. And it makes me, and I don't want to sound racist or anything like that, but it's like I try not to look at the color of the skin, because we always talk about we need black this, we need black that, and I get it, but I'm just that type of person. I want to roll with whether you black, white, Greek, giant Chinese. It doesn't matter. If you are qualified and you're gonna get the job done, I'll roll with you. That's where I'm at. But I'm so angry now because it's like I'm thinking like I don't just think I'm gonna support another white person again because this is what we got, and a lot of our black politicians, we already deal with them because they get in place and they sell out, you know. And what do you do? What do you do when you're watching these young men and you got all the evidence that you need to release these brothers, but to me, you waiting on to get a person to convict them before you allow them to be released. Wrongful convictions don't work like that, and I just honestly think that it's a travesty.
Well, let me say this, brother Frazier. Personally, I don't give a damn who's in office. I don't care who the issue is. We got to step to them. I don't care. I mean, like I said, I've known Kim Worthy for years. I know a lot of people, politicians and stuff like that. I personally don't give a damn. If
That
it's wrong and it's unjust, you know, the brother, the white man, whomever's there, if it's injustice, we got to call it out.
that part.
We got to call it. I don't care. You know, like that's just the way it is. And
Yeah,
so, and we those brothers that are still incarcerated today, and even the ones that are out that are free today, got their freedom, but they had to fight for it, and
Yeah.
still
yeah,
fight today. They're still fighting. I mean, publicly they're still fighting because some, the community is like, well, some of them are still like, well, we don't know or whatever, or why you standing up for black men and women that are wrongfully convicted? Well, because it's injustice, and there can never be any justice without accountability. You got to go back. You got to get those. You got to go after those people. And if some of them are in office today, you still have to call them out and go after them.
mhm,
That's what we have. That's what the move. What a movement does. That's what activism. And then you look for the impact of your activism.
That's
You
mhm.
right.
know, I understand how you feel. Because you supported the person and thought it was going to be something, and it's something else. So now, and even when you see him and you tell him, I supported you, but I'm gonna tell you this. This is wrong, and I'm coming after you. And guess
Yeah,
what? This fight is gonna be in perpetual motion. I
It's
know.
gonna be
I'm a boxing type fan guy. Aaron Pryor out of Cincinnati, Ohio, fought in perpetual motion. In other words, he kept coming, and he kept coming. That's what this is. This ain't a
yeah,
sprint. This a marathon. So we got to
yes,
keep coming.
right.
And yeah, it's gonna be some times when we gonna think that, I've always, uh, it's some lows there in the fight. Like you say, well, these people not listening to us, they ain't paying attention. But if there's some movement, if they're doing something, or they make this, it's a chess game. They make this kind of move, and we see that move. I say, okay, that's something. But we still, like you said, Kim Worthy hires another investigator. What is that? There's nothing really. You think about it. She out of this, she was able to get more money out of Warren Evans. The commission, the Wayne County Commission, voted to give her more money to hire another investigator. But we need an independent investigator. Or if she want to use their investigators, we still need to have an independent investigator right there with them, looking over their shoulder and saying, hey, this is that. See, the issue is when we look at these so-called folks that they want to put we or the community puts in power, votes for, and I always say they don't have no power any damn way. God got all the power. People saying I'm speaking truth to power. I'm not. I'm speaking to another man or another woman. They don't have no power. I mean, you look at what Judge King did. That's what they think they got some power. So you got to let them know. But they're in office. You just got to call them out. You got to step to them. And you got to bring the community with you. But you got to wake up the community. You got to educate the community. So that's what this is about. That's what it's about. And some people say, well, because somebody made a comment when we were out there in front of Detroit Police headquarters. Yeah, it wasn't before them out there. But what we did, we improvised. Because I told people, I said, well, it's good if you got 5 or 25 or 50, but it's about having, getting the message out. So as long as you got one mic, you can stand there and speak. But they said that it's only for us to be funny. But quickly, you know what we did? Because we had the media. We got Channel 2, 4, the local media out there, and that was about getting the message to the people. So I said, okay, I told Mark, and I said, yeah, this is a press conference. And that's what we turned it. We still did the protest, but we turned it quickly into the press conference where they went before the mic and before the media and told their truths. And that's what that was about.
I know Sam used to always say it's always one that stands up for the many.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. That's right.
It's not about the numbers. It's about the purpose and the intention that we're out here and that we're speaking. This is our duty, to educate. This is our duty to stand up. People have been rocked to sleep, as we say many times on here. I know as many Fridays I was on the Sam Riddle show talking about these wrongful convictions. People will call in and say how wonderful the Detroit police is and how they do this. And I'm telling you that this is a problem. Like, not only is it a problem for me, but maybe 10% of the people that's in Michigan Department of Correction, you're talking about 30,000 people. Well, we're going to say maybe 3,000 to 4,000 of them are innocent, had nothing to do with the crime. Absolutely nothing.
Well, sister,
do you think that's okay?
I believe it's more than that.
Right, but it is of such a magnitude. If you got 30,000 and there's one in there that's wrongfully convicted, that to me makes such a magnitude over with the 30,000. So you're absolutely right, sister. But if it's 30,000, you got 3,000, 10,000, whatever. But if it's just one person that's in there, then we should be fighting.
Right, that's one too many. That's one too many.
That's my point, sister. That's one too many. And I know there's many more than one, but I'm just using it.
Right.
So we need to stand up. That's why I say I'm proud of the brothers that's out there standing up for the other brothers that's inside to help them escape that plantation. Lord knows. Yeah. So
there's a question for you, Mr. Crawford. It's from Alicia. She says, Mr. Crawford, how do you feel about the many exonerations from Wayne County and the thousands more that have filed innocent claims with the Wayne County Integrity Unit?
Well, I believe the number was, I don't know if it's 1,700 or whatever the number is. But I feel great that it's come to light and that the brothers are getting their freedom and the sisters, the ones that have. But there's so much more to fight for. There's so many more to fight for. And also, it needs to be brought to light as to what occurred in each and every one of their cases, involving the Detroit Police Department and the prosecutor, because as reported today about that information that was withheld, and that's what the police do. And they talked about those miscellaneous files. People don't realize. I worked surveillance, headquarters surveillance for 7 years. We had one of the best surveillance units in the country. Now, during that headquarters surveillance, we kept surveillance notes. So we're moving with people who committed crime or were about to commit crime, something like that. But we had surveillance notes every day, every minute. We sat in them cars and, somebody had to keep the notes, surveillance notes as to what everything we could. Now, are those surveillance notes made available to the public? No. No, sister. If they're following you and me, I can tell you when the sister was killed over here on Lily Bridge, by the SWAT team. I forgot who was the chief then. I think it was anyway. It's been some years. But the 8-year-old or whatever was in the house, there was a surveillance crew that was set up on that house. See, what people don't know, when the brother killed the young brother at the store, and the police went to Southeastern High School. I don't want to get too much off of what we're talking about, but this is some truth nobody never heard. The police went to Southeastern High School because they had the information. The young man was killed at the store around the corner on Mac, and he was a student at Southeastern. So when they went up in there, they talked to somebody that I know who called me right away. Say, hey, it's been a murder. One of the students went to the store, whatever, etc. And homicides come up in here, and the police come up here, and 48 hours is with them. I said, 48 hours? The show. I said, well, I know they're going to be doing this stuff for the cameras. They're going to try to get the killer. The house was identified on Lily Bridge. I know the person that did the drive-by and identified that one of the young students that witnessed it said, I know where the killer lived. There was a drive-by in the middle of the day. They set up surveillance immediately. They had the two brothers that were ultimately arrested come out that house, leave and go to the store. Let him go back in the house. I know how the gang worked. They could have took him down outside the house, because who wants to go into a house, even though you get a warrant later, and go into the house within hours? But nobody wants to. Anybody with common sense, in terms of the tactics, you don't want to go in the house because you don't know how the house looks, how many rooms, where the closets are, and then you want to go in at night, blast, bang, crashing through the windows and stuff, and kill that young sister. So the surveillance notes, that's part of the miscellaneous stuff. Any of these brothers who, that they had that's all part of it. That's never shown or never brought out in court. So you got that. When you talk about miscellaneous files, that's part of the miscellaneous file. That's part of that stuff. Witness statements. People who said so and so did it, and then you want to suppress that or hide that, really. and the prosecutors, you don't turn it over to the prosecutors, and then the prosecutors, some stuff they know about, they don't even bring out. So and the narrative, they create that, what I call that police narrative. It's wrong. It's unjust. And then at a point they engaging in some criminality. When folks swear to stuff, under oath, they test the lie instead of testify. That's a felony. That's perjury. That's one thing to start with. So in the misconduct of the prosecutors, prosecutors is supposed to be about finding the truth, man, and putting the truth out.
Right.
Not
about justice. The prosecutor really is supposed to be about justice.
That's right, sister. It's supposed to be about justice. That's right.
And not about her job or her next career move or whatever they're doing down there. Reverend Tia, you had a question. Go ahead.
You know what? I was looking at the fact that we have our integrity unit is, of course, run and overseen by the prosecutor, which is definitely a conflict of interest. And so I'm wondering, like, are there independent ones that have been working? I know that I think Innocence Project had some that they had talked about, and I'm just wondering, is there, why I don't know. I'm just confused at how complacent people are in allowing this to continue. And families are hurting. Families are hurting. People are devastated. And we keep doing the same thing. I'm trying to keep it clean. Extremely stupid way. Like, it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. There's no assessment for our integrity unit. How do we assess them? What gives them a good grade? When we're in jobs or whatever, we get assessed. We have to go into meetings and see how well we're doing, and if they want to keep you, or if they don't, or if they want to give you a raise. We're not assessing anything. It's just they just get to do whatever they want to do. And how is that acceptable to? How can you just say I lost the file? That should be automatic freedom.
Exactly.
And so I don't know. I'm wanting to hear what's working. And why don't we even investigate what works? We have, every time I look at the definition of Wayne County Integrity Unit, it infuriates me because it's not going to change. It's overseen by the prosecutor. There, that sentence alone means that there's a conflict of interest.
Reverend Tia, I want to
That
play this.
sentence alone, because she's the problem.
Right. I want to play this video for you guys. Here we go.
For people watching this who think finally justice because of these units, you say not so fast.
Well, it's a beautiful story. I'm so happy for Shamel Capers. I've been involved in multiple exonerations and prison releases, and I'm just so overjoyed for him and his family. But the problem is that we have such an epidemic of wrongful convictions. Serious scholarly estimates say that roughly 5% of all convictions are of the wrong person. With over 2 million people in prison, that's 100,000 people. So to have an isolated incident like that is a wonderful story, but we need to look at all the people whose cases we're never hearing about. And the problem with conviction integrity units is that it's the very same office that actually contributed to the wrongful conviction that we're asking to review itself. So while I applaud the Queen's DA, Melinda Katz, and she's done a tremendous job in this case and in many others, the problem is that the CIUs all around the country, most of them are doing absolutely nothing. So they've set up an office. There are 97 of them, but 46 haven't had a single exoneration. And most have had one or two. Her office has had over 100, which is really remarkable. But what's troubling is that they give this false pretense that there's a serious review taking place. And for the people who just get ignored, and I'm involved in a case in Chester County, Pennsylvania, where we, for 16 months, have been trying to get them to look at a case. They wouldn't even respond and acknowledge receipt of our case. And the evidence is sitting there ready to be tested. And it's been there for 24 years. We can't get a response. So it's troubling that many DA's offices are starting to create something that's giving the illusion of serious self-review, but there's no autonomy, there's no independence, and often there's very little fairness.
Because in some ways, this is a conflict of interest.
Exactly.
Because when you expose that this case was mishandled, then you're exposing the lack of care, the mismanagement of the case within the office.
Exactly, because the vast majority of proven exonerations by DNA had prosecutorial misconduct. So you're asking the very same office, often the very same people. It might have been their own cases or their colleagues. And so what's the incentive there?
So
typically it's to oppose testing, oppose review, oppose new evidence, oppose release.
So that's why this debate is a good one, and I'm glad we're having it. I'm going to push back on you a little bit. I just want to note in Shamel's case, it was a different DA and a different team of prosecutors. So the new DA comes in and says we have to take a look.
Yeah.
But are you letting, Mark, the perfect scenario where we get equal justice under law, are you letting the perfect be the enemy of the good?
No, I want there to be more conviction integrity units, but I want them to have independence, autonomy, fair review. So it could be by appointing people who are former defense attorneys, appointing people from the Innocence Project and other organizations like mine.
People like you.
Exactly. I would have more faith if I knew that there were people who understand the real nature of wrongful convictions, who actually have had a stake in exonerations, to look at the misconduct in that very office. Instead, they just sort of put a wall around and say, trust us. I'm not going to trust the very same people who put countless, we're talking now, over 100,000 people in prison for crimes they didn't commit. That is deeply troubling if you care about truth and justice. And I don't think they're getting at it.
Is anybody getting it right?
Well, I think Philadelphia, actually, they've had many
Larry
exonerations
Krasner.
in Larry Krasner's office. I think in Queens, I really applaud this work that they've done. They actually hired a former attorney from the Innocence Project who's leading up the conviction integrity. So in my view, it's actually not a coincidence that that office is having more exonerations. Most of them, it's just one of their line prosecutors who's suddenly in charge of actually policing essentially themselves. And so in the smaller counties out there that we don't hear about, it's just injustice being compounded with this false pretense of review, and people are just getting buried, ignored. My mailbox is full of letters from people in prison begging to get their cases looked at. I look at as many as I can. We've been able to find so much more of a complete picture of truth, and in a few cases actually achieve justice. But honestly, working with conviction integrity units as they exist now has been really an exercise in despair.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know. And thank you for that story. It was important to hear Shmel's story. Mark Howard, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
We
having me.
appreciate it very much.
That's heavy.
Exactly.
There
That's heavy.
is no integrity. I'm about to burn a hole in my seat over here. I couldn't wait to
Oh,
talk. There
Go
is
ahead.
no integrity in these integrity units. You can't call it a conviction integrity unit. And God bless Washington County's heart, because they may as well just call it an expungement unit, because you ain't checking for no wrongful convictions. Number one, the prosecutor don't have a boss to step up and let nobody out. That's why Ronell's case, the Innocence Clinic had to take it before the courts, and then he didn't contest it. So I'm telling you right now, and I can't. No, let me take that back, because I can't tell nobody what to do. All I'm saying is I've seen a pattern. Ain't nobody getting out. The only people getting out are the ones that's pulling their case out them integrity units and taking them before the court themselves and coming home. Other than that, it's a stall. It's a stall in Vernell Bass' son's case, his co-defendant, Michael Lawson. Michael Lawson still sitting in there. Carl's dead now. Ben was home and dead, right? And why? Why is he still sitting there when there was a tape to prove his innocence? They talk about, oh, we got to pay to unlock the tape. So Claudia Whitman had to pay the integrity unit to unlock something that was already in their possession. They are playing games. These conviction integrity units have no integrity. And so as long as that happens, the VZ brothers are still going to sit there. Well, that's a lie, because we're going to pressure until they come home. But I'm telling you right now, people are going to sit in prison waiting on these conviction integrity units who are under the thumb of a prosecutor who, just like Ellie Savage, when you take him something, he say it's not enough because he want a body for a body. And that is why the VZ brothers is still sitting there. And so we got to stand up. Because if we don't stand up, this stuff keeps happening. This is why it has happened the way it has, because we just let it go. We vote for these people, walk away, come back in 4 years and vote again. We don't do no, like you said, performance appraisal. We ain't checking for the results of nothing. We just blindly vote these folks back in. But then when the shit touch our family, we be like, oh, pray for me. Yeah, I'm going to pray for you, and I'm going to help you too, but I'm going to need everybody else to get up off their ass, because this is ridiculous.
It is. Real talk.
Woo.
And sorry for cursing. I apologize.
That was almost a mic drop. But when I mean, like,
that was a mic drop. That was definitely a mic drop. Yeah, and it needed to be said.
It needed to. I mean, look at Mr. Beat the Odds. He went in there. Come on, Mr. Beat the Odds. He went in there for his case himself. Himself. Because they wasn't checking for him. Diane was on here every month talking about this case. And Kim Worthy was fighting him tooth and nail. And we was on listening to it.
Still fighting right now.
Still fighting him. Right
you know what I mean?
now, no, this young man is innocent.
But you know, I'm gonna tell you something though. Let me say this, y'all. If you could take like the attention off of the other cases and put them on Darrell, you already know Darrell free. So you can burn your energy. You can get the public eye, like just to get behind Darrell and support Darrell and his freedom with stuff. Darrell is free, and we all understand that. What you doing, like you missing deadlines, time limits, like it's all for whatever that you showing, whatever your publicity is. But it's taking us away from the fact that it's other innocent people and we know who they are by name. And she could be spending that time, the conviction integrity unit could be spending that time spending into that versus the rail, he free. They know, they already stated on the record. This ain't what it is, and based on that, we releasing this man. So we need to be putting our attention on these people that's innocent, that's left behind bars, like the VC brothers, and then and pushing full throttle and figuring out how we can hold Kim Worthy accountable for the crimes that she didn't committed. Because somewhere in there she didn't committed some crimes. In the same way they snooped out that man Puffy issues, then there's somebody out here that got Kim Worthy issues. So whoever it is that got the black records and the tapes that we can use to free people, then man, come on, produce them. Like, hey, spin them over. You got them. Right, let us run with them, because I
Yeah.
know for a fact that Kim Worthy said on record that that he lost these files, right? But where is the files that was lost on Kim Worthy watch, and why nobody not speaking and concerned in that? So that's why I keep saying free Tamara Washington, because her case, her files is missing directly on Kim Worthy watch, and Kim Worthy said that that's unacceptable.
Tell them we got $1 million on the Ken Worthy dirt. Any dirt on Ken Worthy, we got $1 million.
Oh yeah, you got the right dirt. That's the ticket, man. I know some people who got $1 million. I know some people who got it. I ain't gonna say no name because I ain't gonna be telling nobody business, right? But if somebody got some information, man, that can lead to the Kim Worthy being fired or being charged with a crime, because I'm confident that she didn't committed crimes and atrocities against our community and our citizens. And there's people that got that information, and some of them people did it right along with her. And then what Alicia Bowers say, where are all the prosecutor files for Wayne County? Well, Miss Bowers, they say that they lost them in floods, and the other times they burned up. But Ken Worthy say that Mike Dugan had a policy where he allowed those files to be destroyed. So, where they at? What you just said, what's popping with it, and then how, once we know that these files is missing, how is that information used to free a person? Right? Because that's the end result. How do we use this information that we're acquiring in the process to free people and as many people that's innocent as possible? Because, like, with me, it was other people that was convicted based on faulty testimony of Monica Childs, not just the 4 people that they let loose, and they said that it was based on the jailhouse snitches in the 9th floor of 1300 Bobian. It's other people, Gary Brayboy, is going through pedophile. Like, these is people who was locked up with me. And when you look at their paperwork and you look at my paperwork or you look at Bernard Howard paperwork, and then, like, if you just look at other cases that's along the lines, right, that's coming out of those Squad 7, that homicide division, from those eras, from probably like, excuse my language, guys, from the late 80s to the 2000s. If you look at them cases, you know what I mean? What you say, Jason was convicted under her. Even with FOIA, we haven't been given said files. If you don't have the files that show one's guilt, they are innocent. Let them go. It's interesting. Well, if nothing else, how does a person stand tall on 10 to fight for their conviction other than say they didn't do it if the people who got the files, the primary people with the files, is not allowing those files over to the public or to the people who fight for their lives? That would mean that you handicapping these people who fighting for their freedom. And that right there is not fair, right? Because now you got blinders on. You know what I mean? Like, everything supposed to be fair and impartial. And when the person not provided with adequate defense, when a person not afforded the great opportunity to fight for their freedom in an equal manner as the people pushing against them in opposition to bury them in there, if you ain't afforded that, then what is it? Like, what is fair and what ain't? So,
Right. How can you even hold people if you don't even have a file?
well, that's a good question. And then, like, that's one for the government. Because, like, for us, we'll give our whole opinions, but it's just about holding it to the government, right? Affording the government, putting that question to the Kim Worthy, putting that question to the Dana Nessel, putting that question to the people. Man, free Kensu. If y'all really want to get at it, man, you done had a attorney general, who changed the laws. Like, my battery going dead, y'all. But what I'm saying is, you had an attorney general in Michigan change the laws, right? To change the laws to fit to be hold it. If the laws was them laws when they let me go, like the rule, the conviction, I'd still be in prison. They said that they used the newly discovered evidence, right? And then with Kinsu, they changed the rule and said that evidence had been looked at, but they were supposed to look at it as cumulative. She's not going to let it go because this man has embarrassed the prosecution and her allies, which was a judge. The real Mr. Beat the Odds basically said the judge is affiliated with the prosecutor. Well, that was true. I was in the courtroom when he said it. I'm in agreement. My battery going dead. But like I said, I'm in agreement with what you saying. Darrell did beat the system. Darrell still beating the system. But Darrell is a direct reflection of what the system is doing to other people that's still incarcerated. So for every person getting behind Darrell, when Darrell tell you that it's a person that's out here who going through the same thing, that went through the same thing, you see him going through his law stuff right here. He doing his own homework. But what I'm saying to y'all is, when it go to us people, right, in the system,
Mhm.
if you know I got screwed up, you know he got screwed up, and we done read the transcript, and we telling you we doing what y'all don't want to do, we showing y'all, then get behind us and help us advocate on behalf of them innocent people, medically frail people, oversentenced people, those parents, those children, because those are people who we get in the process of taking to support when we get knee deep in this stuff. But if we don't have the real type of support, and then like people get support to the bootlickers, right? A person to go up there and say Ken Worthy the worstest, and the Azana go up there and say Ken Worthy the best, and then the people will go with that Azana who say Ken Worthy the best versus the track worker, all the other people saying that Ken Worthy is the worst. So I don't want
Tell
this
them
to
how
cut
she
off.
got them on their team. How she bamboozled them.
Oh yeah, mental health. They bamboozled all us, told we gonna get us some mental health. We should become a nonprofit, right? When in reality, that's the part. Wraparound services. We need to be separated. We need to be separated from the administration. They don't need to be running exoneree affairs. And that's what I'm saying. We want to make exonerees, y'all. Then we got to get in the process of getting active as a collective of exonerees and pushing this thing as together versus having administration separate us. That's all. If
Yeah.
y'all,
Ken
Well,
Worthy said she was gonna host a town
yeah, Ken
hall.
Worthy said at that meeting we was down there, she was gonna host a town hall, and on that our battery gonna go dead. But she said, and we should try to hold her to the letter, or we should do it on our own, right?
Well, we
We should
are
so I know they about to
October
hang
the
up on us, y'all.
19th.
What you say, 19th?
October the 19th, we're having a. It's going to
The
be our
summit?
town hall. We're having a wrongful conviction summit. We're going to talk about that shortly. But yes, we are. So I need everyone on this feed to show up because we're as our title said, the pursuit of truth. That's what we're on right now, the pursuit of truth. We cannot continue to operate the same way we've been operating and expect things to change. Go ahead, Nate.
No, I'm listening. I'm taking this all in.
yeah, well, yeah, J Love and to everyone, the sister talked about the integrity, innocence, integrity unit having no integrity. That is so true. My suggestion is though, and I'd like everyone else's feed on this is the innocent integrity unit or innocent projects should consist of as what was stated on CNN in the clip that you played, which is very informational and informative.
Yes.
By you pick maybe someone who was wrongfully convicted, put them on that unit. You pick a independent investigator, put them in that unit, because it goes back to the old saying. It's like putting the fox in the hen house.
Right.
The police aren't and the prosecutors aren't going to investigate themselves. They're never going to come out publicly and say, my prosecutors did this or I did that. That's never going to happen. So until you truly get, independent investigators or people in there, and even Brother Smith talked about, some maybe exoneree who perhaps was seeking his meritorious manumission, and in other words, I'm gonna make it in layman's terms, sold out or selling out, because he has his freedom, and that's what meritorious manumission is about. People who are who are sellouts. I mean, we've had that throughout our history of here in America, with black folks, it's about getting their own freedom dues, so that again, you see that, and I don't say it's expected, but I'm not surprised by any of that. But we
Right.
just have to keep, we have to keep the main thing, and deal with the truth, and fight for justice and fight for the freedom of those who were wrongfully incarcerated, because that number, and I say it's even more than 100,000, out of the
Oh,
2
yeah.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more than 100,000. So
Mhm.
So the guy
Yeah,
on
and that's what they said. It's over 100,000.
yes,
Go ahead, Nate.
the guy that was on CNN. So what he's saying is that um a lot of these integrity units are not doing their job, and so
Yeah.
they should be independent, because you got the same people that convicted you
right.
working on your case trying to release you, and they're
Yeah.
not really doing it. Now, I do remember the guy, what's his name? Larry out of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Chrysler. Okay, I remember when Eli was running, we were all sitting down and he was telling us about this guy out of Philadelphia. And this is one of his things that he wanted to bring to this county, Washtenaw County. So even in that, he said, you know, they've been releasing a lot of people getting exonerated, but now he's in that position and absolutely nothing has not been done. It's political. So to Mr. Crawford, do you think that we should get rid of integrity units and just bring independent people in?
That's something you should seriously consider. You know, like we'll say
Around the country.
Around the country, as they're doing in other places. I mean, there are a few places in I think New Jersey and even I know New York. Not only did they free the innocent, but also they went after and even got some convictions out of the police that put them there. And that's part of the account. That's one of the most important parts of this thing, aside from someone getting their freedom, is you have to hold these people accountable. You know,
Yes.
wrongful convictions, but the misconduct, the criminality that police engaged in, and go after prosecutors too if they have some knowledge of that. You know, withholding evidence, information.
Right.
You know, during the trial.
So
You know, and that's-
basically,
when sometimes, I mean, oftentimes when somebody says I'm innocent, believe them. You know, it's like when a man says you got to, when the police was choking people and killing folks, and what did you hear? They said I can't breathe. Well, believe him. He or she couldn't breathe.
Exactly.
They have the audacity to say, well, yeah, you can breathe because he's still talking. Well, what was his last word? Well, check this out. What was his last words? His dying declaration. His last words were what? He's calling on his mother.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
He's calling on his mother. Understand that. You know, not George Floyd and many others. I can't breathe, but then they're calling out for their mother. Tyree Nichols. We can go on and on and on. So believe people when they say they can't breathe. Sometimes when folks say when people say they're innocent or I didn't do it, believe them. I mean, I realize still you arrest someone for murder, that's deep. But if I mean I've had a lot of some people tell me they didn't do it and all that, and I'm not there to judge. But I followed up with it and everything. So my thing is, if you tell me you didn't do it, then I say, okay, I believe you. But then I got to some kind of way, in a just way, prove that you did or bring forth the information. I talked to J. Love earlier. I told about a case when I was working in Atlanta. I was an Atlanta police officer. Down there, you work by yourself, and I worked in the largest, what they call zone, which is like precincts here. But the thing about it is, I got to know everybody in the community. People that I had locked up for drugs and other little crimes and stuff. Some of them, even in a 2-year span, had been out or was on probation. They helped me out because that's how the community was. They were like, "Well, wait a minute, that's Officer Crawford there. He over there fighting, trying to arrest somebody that was in a stolen car, whatever it was." And they came help me. But that was the kind of community policing, aside from this other stuff that they talk about today. But the whole deal was, and that came from my sense of community. But one night I'm working, and there was a homicide, and I was there, and I had to handle it. The witnesses told me that this brother did it. So I arrested the brother on all the witness statements and all this stuff, and we went through homicide. So a couple of days later, I'm out there patrolling, and I get flagged down by some people that say, "Hey, Crawford, that guy you locked up a couple nights ago, he didn't do that homicide. So and so did it." I said, "What?" So I kind of got some, I took all the information, went to homicide. You know what they told me? They said, "No, we got the guy. You arrested the right guy." I said, "No, you didn't. I'm getting other information out here in the community, from the community and people I know." I go back out there on the name that I had. A few days went by, I couldn't sleep. I'm like, this is not the right guy, and I'm gonna make it right. Went out there and found another guy that did it, that the other people say did it, took him to homicide. A week later, they said, "Yeah, Crawford, you was right. I didn't just drop that, or I just, like I said, I felt it.
Mhm.
I understood that. I was like, wait a minute, I got two sets of information here. Both of them seem to be valid, but for whatever reason, them folks they were lying, or they didn't see what they thought they saw. But I went out and got the real killer. But I couldn't sleep until that was done. And homicide kind of just wanted to ignore me. Well, no, he's the right person. So it's things like that. But when you have a sense of community and you're from the community and of the community, aside from this little facade that they put out here about community policing, I mean, you got to be, to me, you got to be in the community. You got to know the people in the community, and you have to feel that the empathy in some of these situations.
Right. You have so many people. Now they don't live in the community. They drive 20, 30 miles, 100 miles away to come here and bring all their biases and craziness to police communities that they don't even have a relationship with. And that's not community policing. Community policing is what you're describing is people of the community working together for a better community.
That's right.
When we're talking, when we go back to that video, he said there is 99 integrity units, and about 40 of them, 46 of them have never tried a case.
That's right.
They're just there.
They never freed anybody. They never freed.
You have an integrity unit, and you don't even have a case that's done. None. And these units have been in operation for a long time, some years. So,
and they should be fired.
Cool. Right. It sounds cool. We got an integrity unit. But if they're not doing anything, what is it? What is the purpose of them? Because we have talked to people from all over the United States on this platform, and all of them are saying the same exact things that we are saying tonight, about wrongful convictions and who you can see who is happening to. You can see that there's injustice. And, as one of the persons who, she said, that's what I'm saying. These politicians are looking for endorsements after endorsements is over. And we know that these judges are endorsed by police unions and all that. That's who votes for them. And so we as the community have to do a better job at educating ourselves. We have to have more conversations. Someone is running against Kim Worthy. I looked at my ballot today. It's a libertarian, but there's somebody on that ballot that we have a choice. She don't have to be the sue-in. We can make a different choice. It's just up to us to say we're tired and we don't want this kind of policies and these behaviors operating in our communities anymore. We can do that. We can say that. We can. So,
and Jay, I wanted to say, I'm hoping that in pursuit of truth, that people are seeing it's a trickle down from the top. So if the top avoids and is not accountable from the top, and then if it's okay for files to be lost. Now, if you are running a psychological clinic or some type of office, you can get called into the Attorney General and lose your license with a lost file. With a cabinet, if they come in and check and your cabinet where the files are is not locked, then you could be fined. You could be fined and they could close you. But here we are with the people who are supposed to be serving the community justly and from the top down. So if the prosecutor, if the police, if the file clerks can't find files, and then the police themselves, the accountability is the thread through each part of the organization.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping that people can see that. So if the head is not accountable, nobody's accountable. That's not an integrity unit. That is a unit that keeps the lie going.
Mm.
That's right. That's right. Well,
Right.
Sister J Love, and also I'm speaking to Brother Frazier here because you're talking about Washington on that prosecutor. And again, we have to leverage whatever we have, the power of protest or whatever, with that prosecutor, any prosecutors, and any police chief to say, in terms of that, to bring, to come to the table, and then we're going to tell you what, you're going to do. See, that's that kind of power. So you walk up in there, especially when these politicians are running, they come to whatever your meeting is. And then, when I was the union president for the Wayne County Deputy Sheriff, we vetted and interviewed a lot of candidates running for judges and all that. They all came before us. And they come up and they stand in front of you and they say, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. No, we said, okay. I sat there and listened to them. I listened to them. Then I told them, have a seat. And we're going to tell you what you're going to do. And we leverage
Exactly. Yeah.
We leverage that. And we got a list. And you're going to do this if we're going to support you. But now that those are in office that you supported, and even those maybe you didn't support, that they're in office and you can't get them out, because everybody's, a lot of folks sleep, then you still going to go back to them. And you're going to take that power of protest and whatever you have to leverage that. And then they say in the meeting, because when you call for a meeting and they agree to meet with you, they'll say, I'll meet with you. Or you and somebody. No, I'm going to tell you who I'm bringing to the table. And we're going to sit at the table. We ain't sitting under the table. We're going to sit at the table. And we're going to tell you, have a seat. You have to teach people how to treat people.
Yeah.
That's right.
Remember that. You got to teach people how to treat people.
That's right.
That's what this is about. So you go to him, you organize, you plan, you organize, and then you got to have different levels of protest. If you don't get any response, you got to step it up. You got to figure out a way. You got to do your investigation. You got to find out where folks are eating and sleeping and whatever it takes. You got to do whatever it takes. But you got to teach people how to treat people. You go to that table and you take who you want to take to that table. You don't tell me who to bring into the room. We agreed to have a meeting, and you never go by yourself. You never go by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the room might be small, or it just be a little crowded. I'm bringing 3 or 4 people with me.
So what you're saying, you offering to come down here to Washtenaw County and
Sister, I talked to you before, sister. You want me to get to Washington? When y'all got something going, I'll be there.
Awesome, because we will be out there.
I'll be there.
Thank you.
See, it's all into, you got to use that media, like Malcolm said. The media is dangerous, but we got to use a two-edged sword. But we got to use that media.
Right.
We got to use
That's
that media.
right.
You'd be surprised. I've worked in front and even behind the scenes. A lot of reporters and stuff started out little and went national. I'm gonna tell you the stuff that's being reported now, Metro Times, that's gonna hit national.
Yeah.
Because see, with the internet and social media, you share it. Then you share it and you share it and you share it. You share your conversations. We share this. And it keeps going and going and going. Using Twitter, I got folks that just be, they put stuff out on Twitter. It goes across the country. So once it starts hitting certain, then you start, on your news feed, you start reading this newspaper, and this other newspaper has picked up on what's going on in Detroit and this issue. This stuff getting ready to go national. And when it happens, folks get uncomfortable. Then they start talking, hey, wait a minute, okay, Crawford, can we meet next Wednesday? I got something to do. How about today? How about Thursday? And then you get your people together. You say, okay, now this is what we got. And you go in there with your list. It ain't a list of demands. We're telling you what you're gonna do. And if you don't do this, there's something coming. You don't tell them what the repercussions are because you never give up everything. But there's gonna be some. If ain't no action, there's gonna be some reaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is all about.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So
Yeah.
I'll take that drive to Washington. Now, whenever y'all ready, reach out. I'll take
Yeah.
the time.
Forward to.
Yeah, we got to organize. Get some people
Yeah.
together. Get some families
Yeah.
out there too.
Yes.
Get
When
some
we
families.
organize, we win.
That's right.
That's
When you
right.
fight, you win.
Yeah.
That's right. When you fight, you win. And you got to fight. In perpetual motion. That's right.
And you know what else, Mr. Crawford? Just
Yes.
like they made their project 2025, we can work on our own project
We work.
2025.
That's right, sister. We work on our own. Yep. Work on our
We
own.
can come up with our
That's
own
right.
project 2025, and we can go to the table and say, okay, here's our project 2025. This is what we want for our communities. This is what
Exactly.
we're looking for. And if you're not able to meet these demands, then hey, we're gonna work on getting you out of here.
There you go.
That's right.
There you
That's
go.
right.
We can take out.
That's right. When they come talk about an endorsement and they want you to stand beside them and all this stuff, I don't do photo ops with these folks. It's like, okay, well, what you gonna do? What you gonna do for us? What you gonna do for the community? It ain't for me. I ain't looking for that. I'll tell you this right quick. Once we had a guy wanted to run for union president when I was with Detroit Police Department. We had a black president there who was a disgrace to the race. So we were determined as black officers to get him out. So it was a white guy running, and he had this walk around Negro with him. And he came to me one day and said, "We want to meet with the black group." Yeah, he wanted to meet. They wanted to meet because they want us to endorse this guy. So we said, "Okay, well, we'll meet. Okay, meet us at Black World Bookstore, Cafe Kemet, Jefferson and the Boulevard. There's a black-owned bookstore right next to his Cafe Kemet." So we go in there for the meeting. And the white dude tell us, his name was Marty Benjamin. He said he stood up in front of us and we sat down talking to me. It was several, 5 or 6 of us in there, black cops. And he said, "This is what I'm gonna do. For y'all, you black organization, to have the union buy y'all some cabaret tickets, a block of cabaret tickets or any events you're doing and all that." So we let him finish. So you know what I told him? I looked at him, I said, "Sit your ASS down." I said, "Both y'all sit down here." We stood up. I said, "This is what you're gonna do. Here's a list of demands. This is what you're gonna do if we decide to endorse you. You'll get 2 scholarships away to a son and daughter of a police officer every year. You're gonna get 2 scholarships away in the city of Detroit to some students every year, college scholarships. You're gonna take that $1 million that this union has, and in terms of that rubber chicken dinner y'all give once a month to union members and the free beer, and cops shouldn't be drinking anyway like that, serving up free draft beer and drinks and stuff, open bar at the union meeting." I said, instead of spending that money there, you're gonna spend some money with black business. You're gonna hire some black attorneys. All that. If we did. So after we got done, then he stood up. We shook hands. He said, "I got y'all endorsement." I said, "We'll call you in a few days." We'll call you. Now, check this out. We did endorse him. He won. But the deal is, they did everything we told them to do.
That's
You
what
understand what I'm saying, bro? That's the power. They did everything that we told them to do. I ain't give it. It was insulting. I told him it was insulting. Talking about some darn cabaret tickets for us, for the black. I don't care. I don't care nothing about your money. I don't care nothing about your money. Well, I'm gonna bring this back home here. See, holistically, and this happened with the abolishment of Recorder's Court, and all this is connected. See, the abolishment of Recorder's Court, Frank Murphy Hall of Injustice, not Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. Frank Murphy, that's what I called it back in the day. When they came to abolish the court because of the conviction of Nevers and Bunsen, they said this will never happen again. Black folks convict white officers of killing a black man. That's what that was about, to change the jury pool. And we fought against that. And I can say this, back in the day, Kim Worthy, Karen Ford Hood, Jeff Edison, Attorney Jeff Edison, some others, and me and 3 other black cops, Roosevelt, Lawrence, Barron, Coleman, some of us, we met in the courthouse and Joanne Watson, after hours, to fight this fight against the abolishment of Recorder Court. Okay, we lost. But what we said that was going to do is what it's done today. Because when black folks get that jury summons, they don't show up for court. So you don't have a jury of your peers. That was to expand it. It was a Detroit pool they pulled from before. Then made the Third Circuit, it's a Wayne County pool. So black folks got the audacity today, get the jury summons, don't even show up. And then you talk about the folks that's getting wrongfully convicted. Had you been sitting on that jury, you could have said no if you didn't believe it. If it wasn't true. That's on us as black people. Every time I get a jury summons, I go. Hey, they call the black police. I call myself black peace officer. All these years. But I understand I'm from the community, other community, and I'm about sense of community. That's what I grew up with. But I'm just saying, you have to go. You have to be, the system is, yes, an injustice, but you get down and you can speak up, speak out, and you sit there. But that's what that abolishment of the recorder's court was about. And they wanted to elect judges from Wayne County, not Detroit. They didn't want all them black judges down there. That's what that was about. So see, they work. This is what they do. We sit back and we don't even understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us ain't even trying to find out either.
Right.
So
yeah, and they did. You know what? I got to add to that because, and I was just listening to my mother during all of this time. I don't even think I could vote yet, but I was almost ready, and in tying all that together and realizing that at the same time, so many people were itching to get out into the suburbs and still keep their jobs within the city.
Yeah.
So right during that same election, they overturned the law saying that if you were going to work in the city of Detroit, you had to live within the city of Detroit. So then you saw all of a sudden, then the demographic changed for the city workers, your police, the fire department.
Well, let me say,
all of that happened.
Let me say this, and
It's
like
all
I said,
related.
all this, it's all connected holistically. In 1999, when they abolished residency, I organized. It was like 4 of us, black cops. We drove to Lansing on our own a couple of times, off duty. We went up in there. Chief Benny Napoleon found out that we were going. This was the mayor, because we was on the other side of the table. These folks came from all over Michigan in big Greyhound buses, I guess you call them, trailway buses, police and fire, sitting on the other side of the table, wanted residency abolished. So the third time we were going to Lansing, Benny Napoleon thought, I said, hey, look, he said, y'all take a city car, y'all gonna be carried working. He's understand what y'all doing. We sat there, and that's why I talked about that black union president, because he sat on the other side of the table, and he was from Detroit, and he just talked about Detroit and dogged the city out and everything, and why he should be able to move. So we said we're gonna deal with him. We got back and we voted him out of office. But the whole issue of the residency, when they abolished residency, because we lost that fight. So I came back. I'm a police officer. I used to go to the police commission meetings, and I told Ike McKinnon and them, I said, look, they abolished residency, but you got these folks taking Detroit cars outside the city. They take home cars. You don't drive they had take home cars, the city car. So you driving out there in the suburbs. So the abolishment of residency, it was not only for police and fire, but also the employees. You're absolutely correct, sister. 2 years later, there was a think tank out of Lansing said that abolishment of residency was an economic impact on the city was $2 billion. Multiply that by 24 years, $2 billion a year. And then they had the audacity to say, when folks stand up and say, defund the police, I said, the police have defunded the black community in these communities. You got the audacity to fight against, and the defunding the police, we talking about different things. We talking about y'all spending money on this, you put this money back in the community. For years, me and even Joey and Watson, and I used to go to city council and say, hey, Detroit Police Narcotics Unit got $10 million in the bank. Y'all give us $5 million, put $5 million back in the community to treat the drug addicts, provide some housing, education, and all that stuff, and give them some jobs. And y'all take the Detroit Police Department, y'all keep the other $5 million or $3 million, and do what you do in terms of what you're doing, getting drugs and money off the street, and stop putting in some cases putting the money in your pocket, and putting the drugs back on the street. But to say that, sister, that's the truth. But to say that That's all part of this holistically. So when people stand up and they want to even, this fool of that wants to be the president with the orange hair, they talk about, they were talking about defunding the police. For years, for 24 years, the police have defunded us. I just told you, multiply $2 billion times 20. And then you talk about police want better pay and benefits and equipment. Y'all been defunding us for the last 20 some years. And you got the Dassy, so yeah, it's all part of that, and if you don't want to live here, I used to say, well, why are you working here? Go get a job in that your community you live in. Because that whole bit is a farce about community policing. You can never have community police and police don't live in your community. But yeah, the wrongful convicted, we, like I told Brother Frazier, we just got to call it Kim Worthy, anybody, and those integrity units don't have any integrity. Yeah, absolutely, y'all absolutely correct. J Love, we gonna keep fighting and we gonna keep winning.
Yes.
See,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, activism and its impact. And you got to know it. You're gonna see the victory sometimes, it's just, you won a small battle in the war, but each battle you got to count, and you got to thank God for the battles that you win. And ultimately, it's a fight that we have to continue to fight.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you because you are a wealth of knowledge and history. Larry and Darrell, thank you, Mr. Beat the Odds, for joining us. I know you'll be back. Darrell, I know he's going to be back. At this moment, we need to talk about the summit, Trisha.
Yeah, extremely excited to stand alongside turning a moment into a movement and the entire wrongful conviction community as a whole to uplift wrongful convictions. But as my brother Larry said, not just this day and this month, but for us, it's a daily push for freeing the innocent. However, we will come together on October the 19th. That is 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And this year, we will be filming the first wrongful conviction documentary for statewide for the summit this year. So we will be filming each segment, and then folks can actually sign up to do individual interviews as well. And again, this is all in an attempt to put the word out that the state of Michigan will not stand for these injustices, that we are in a pursuit of truth, and that we are going to stand in action. And this will be a part of that action to share our stories, to get the word out that these aren't isolated cases. This is a pattern of corruption, a pattern of injustice that we need to stand up against. So we're excited about that. We even have some folks from the state of Michigan that will be a part. From the state of Mississippi that will be a part of the documentary as well, because we want to show, again, this is not isolated, it's happening across this country. So we're asking everybody to go and register for this event. We need you to be in the house. We want you to bring somebody with you that doesn't even know about wrongful conviction. Brother Crawford said it best. He said to educate. We must educate the community. And so this is what we are doing. So I'll tell you what, you can register at bit.ly/capital VOTING, capital N, capital M, and then lowercase ORE, voting and more. We want you to register on Eventbrite, and we're just trying to get a count and make sure that everybody's name is counted. But not only that, we want to get your email addresses, right? So that we can continue to keep in contact with you. As this movement is building, we want to make sure that no one is left behind. So we hope we see you. We are excited to have Mr. Crawford. We're excited to have Larry Smith. We are excited to have Lamar Munson and some other exonerees, and just a lineup like no other that is going to come and tell the truth And as Mr. Crawford said, we ain't speaking truth to power because we are the power.
Yes. Thank you, Trisha. Yeah, we'll have those links up. You can look at the Turning a Moment into a Movement pages for the links for the summit. And also we'll be back on Friday, our time at 8:30 with Reverend Ed Pinkney for part 2. So be sure to join us. Reverend Ed Pinkney is amazing, and all the work that he's doing up there in Benton Harbor, and also helping his people be exonerated in Benton Harbor. They're doing a lot of work. His organization is doing a lot of work as well. So we just want to give out this information and tools. We're going to have Mr. Mark Craighead the following week. Attorney Elizabeth Franklin Best. She's coming back. They're talking about, she has wrote a whole book on wrongful conviction. So be here so you can she has made a blueprint. So we need you guys to show up to get the information. That's what we're here for. We're trying to connect the dots and connect people with people and connect people with information. So if that's it tonight, you guys, Reverend Tia, do you have anything else to say? Anything you want to leave us with before we go?
I'm just so happy for this evening's conversation. And Reggie, thank you so much. And everyone else who was here. Thank you, my sisters, for being with me and allowing me to walk with you. And Jay, for your leadership, because Trisha, I'm so excited about what's coming. And I know it's, to say that this is Wrongful Conviction Day. And at the same time, it's a day I believe for us to ignite others, not only to join forces, but also get educated, like we've been talking about. This is a time of education. And we really not only come out, learn, and come and act as if you know nothing. And that's how you know you're in the learning position. Because when you think you already know, that's when you really don't know. And I have, every time we come together, there's a new story. There's a person that I didn't know about. And it's time for action. I keep imagining and spending time every day thinking and praying and seeing everybody out. This does not work. This system that we have does not work when you have over 100,000 people, and that's not even probably that's probably a minimal amount that they're really disclosing. But we don't even know the numbers because they have not been treated human. And so they will not give true numbers, because if you're waiting for government or anybody else to take action, it's not going to happen because they do not care.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Reverend Tia. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Reggie, do you have anything else?
Yes, to the sisters, I want to thank and also Sister J. Love, particularly for the invite to this, and it's really an educational moment for me, believe me. And Sister Love, I will reach out to some, I guess, say some of my friends in the media, and let them make them aware of the summit, and also to personally reach out to you, Sister Love, in terms of perhaps interview or whatever, just to get the information out, and just continue to put your truth out, your truth, and also this, well, like someone said, the project, we got our own project. Sister Love, you said our own project 2025, and as a moment, this is this is the project that's going to be put out there, well, now, but also 2025.
Right.
Yeah, it's like I said, they out in this with this. Well, it's more than the slogan. It's true, and that is there can never be justice without accountability. You have to hold these folks accountable in order
Yes,
to truly get some justice.
exactly. Well, you guys, it's been fun. I'm glad we're back. We got one comment before we go. Deidre said, "Thank you all for your continued advocacy for our wrongful convicted victims. I lose hope sometimes, but it is an individual such as yourselves that reignite my hope to continue fighting for justice and freedom for my son." Yes, Deidre. Robert Grayhouse. Yes. So
Jay,
thank you guys for watching. Thank you all you guys that's watching on Instagram. Although I saw your comments, they don't come up on this feed. They don't have it connected yet. But once it gets connected, oh yeah, and we're gonna have a phone line. We have a phone line, so soon, once we get the kinks out, you guys will be able to call in and have more of a voice live with us. But thank you guys. We'll see you on Friday. Turning a moment into a movement. Good night.
Yes. All right. Good night.